Nobody knows exactly how old the Finnish monsters really are, how long they've been striking terror into people's hearts. Officially, the rock, heavy metal monsters Lordi were founded in 1992 by lead singer, songwriter, visual art designer and costume designer Mr. Lordi. The band has deep Finnish roots originating from the city of Rovaniemi in Lapland. In 2006, they celebrated their international breakthrough by winning the Eurovision Song Contest. They are Finland's only winners to date, and they've earned more points than any other artist in the history of the Eurovision Song Contest up to that time. It's famous what Lordi are for. But is it possible that this is only a pale misperception of our poor, small, pathetic reality? Is there, however unlikely it may seem, another true reality? What if Lordi would have already been making music since the early 70s? And what if they've been releasing one hit single after the other since those times? And now, almost 50 years later, looking back on a full collection of songs that have been successful ever since. This is the idea that Lordi are celebrating, or maybe a more appropriate word is executing, with their newest studio album, Killection. Once more, Mr. Lordi, the master of masquerade, presents us with one of his ideas, absurd and genius at the same time, and comes up with a concept that has never been done before in the music industry. Killection is a compilation album that simply says, what if? What if Lordi had been in existence since the early 70s? It contains all their imaginary hit singles from different periods done with painstaking attention to detail, using authentic studios and vintage technology. This is how they would have sounded if Lordi would have made music back then, and therefore would have been a hit material to release this compilation now. Killection is out on January 31st, 2020 via AFM Records. The concept behind Killection is certainly a fun one. The idea of a fictional compilation album is something I've not seen or heard yet. An album full of would-be Lordi hits, spread throughout the eras of rock and metal with short interjections of radio recordings to add some legitimacy to the idea. Of course, this is something that only works if the tracks that actually make up the compilation are hits. And that's not quite the case, but it's easy to imagine a lot of these tracks being regularly played on the radio thanks to simplicity and catchiness. The likes of the horror-themed disco party beats Shake the Baby Silent and Zombie Meal are far more fun than they have any right to be. While Horror for Hire, Up to No Good and Cutterfly capture the 80s so perfectly, Lordi have to be commended. Then we have the mellow rockiness of Like a Bee to the Honey and Apollyon. They sound really accurate to the era it is trying to capture. No matter how hard you try to deny it, these tracks, amongst many of the others, are absolute foot tappers. Not only that, regardless of the differing styles, this is very much a Lordi album. From the tongue-in-cheek horror lyrics, the groovy rock sing-alongs and meteor injections of metal, it feels and sounds like the Finnish legends. It's safe to say that Lordi have realised the idea that they went out to achieve. Even if it doesn't bring them as much success as these hit singles did back in the day, have some fun with Killection. Lordi clearly did making it. It's out on January 31st via AFM Records. Make sure you check it out and let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on GBHBL.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal, what else is life for?